Is inflation being sneaky, just waiting for the right moment to pounce? After 3.5 long years, we're finally inching towards the Federal Reserve's 2% target. But does that mean price pressures are about to ease? Or is inflation merely catching its breath, preparing to strike again? Economic uncertainty means you have to keep up with what's happening. Make sure you subscribe and we'll keep you in the know. At their September meeting, Fed officials determined that inflation was cooperative enough to reduce interest rates for the first time in over 4 years, cutting them by 50 basis points instead of the expected 25. They also updated their summary of economic projections, indicating further cuts totaling 200 basis points are anticipated through 2026. Hold on a second. Experts are saying that there is a serious flaw in the Fed's strategy for cutting rates. Inflation isn't just sitting quietly, it's ready to reignite again at any moment. Jeff Cox, a veteran economics reporter for CNBC, argues that inflation remains a significant issue, stating it is still a huge problem. He notes that while the headline consumer price index moderated to an annual rate of 2.4% in September, core CPI, which excludes more volatile food and gas prices, jumped to 3.3%. This 3.3% rate is an acceleration from the 3.2% rate recorded in both July and August. Additionally, the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta's sticky price CPI, which measures the inflation rate of goods and services that change prices less frequently, showed both headline and core metrics at 4.0% in September. Cox remarked, while Fed officials lately have been talking more about headline numbers, historically, they've considered core CPI a better measure of long-run trends. That makes the inflation data even more troublesome. Cox makes a crucial point. Inflation remains a big problem because we are dealing with years of price hikes. It's like a shadow. It just keeps following us. Even if prices are stabilizing, we can't forget the burden of existing higher prices. Since March 2021, when inflation first exceeded 2%, headline CPI has increased nearly 20%. Various categories have seen even larger increases, with food inflation climbing 22%. And egg prices soaring 87%. Auto insurance has surged nearly 47%, while the median home prices have risen by 30% since the global health crisis began. And here's the kicker. Many Americans are borrowing to keep up with rising costs. Cox warns that this only adds to the inflation struggle. As of the second quarter, total household debt increased by 21% since the first quarter of 2021, reaching a record $17.8 trillion. Credit card debt surged by an alarming 48% during this time. Investopedia succinctly described the dual impact of inflation and rising consumer debt. From the perspective of household budgets, it's like fighting inflation with another kind of inflation. Renowned financial historian Edward Chancellor makes it clear that there are numerous reasons why inflation might be here for the long haul. Runaway public debt is one concern, as America's national debt nears $36 trillion, and total global government debt is projected to exceed $100 trillion by year-end. According to Chancellor, other significant drivers of inflation include deglobalization, de-dollarization, aging demographics, climate change, and the energy transition, all of which will exert upward pressure on prices in the coming years. Jeff Cox from CNBC points out that even with the Fed's recent half-point rate cut, some policymakers are still worried about the future of inflation. Not exactly a vote of confidence. San Francisco Fed President Mary Daly expressed to an audience at New York University Stern School of Business, "Continued progress towards our goals is not guaranteed, so we must stay vigilant and intentional." Here's the bottom line. Consumers are facing prices they simply can't afford, and then they are getting hit as they borrow money. All this talk of future inflation risks might just explain why gold continues to break records. That's why I suggest you take the time to learn more about what's really going on in the economy by attending our exclusive one-on-one web conference at AugustaPreciousMetals.com/webconference.